Hi guys, my name is Carrie. I am going to be doing a tutorial on how to get started with dump painting. This is a video for anybody who's hasn't done a dump paint yet or an acrylic flow painting, and you need to know what you need to get started. So that's this video. The part 2 will do a dump paint, and then part 3 will varnish and get our painting ready to go on the wall with the backings and all. So and then further along with videos, we'll do some different techniques of different kind of poured art you can do. So I just thought I'd show you a couple different things here before we get started. Just this picture here, if you see, this is a dump painting, and these little round things here are called cells, and that's what we're going for when we're making these dump paintings. And this is what we use silicone to get. So that's just an example of a dump paint. And I have another example of a swipe painting. So in this case, I had this thought about treasure chest in my head about gold on the top and then rubies, emeralds, and sapphires here on the bottom. So what I did is I just put colors on the bottom, I put gold on the top, I took a swiping tool and I swiped it down to make this kind of effect. And then the cells come up really small, so you have to go back and forth, stretch them out. So that's another kind of poured art that we can do further on. And I ruined my painting I made the other night with these. I dropped glue, splattered on my painting, and I didn't notice it in time to get it off. Anyway, this is a negative space, and these are done with an airbrush. You could also do them with a straw. I just have a lung disease, so I have a hard time with the straw. I get too short of breath on doing anything, so I use an air gun. But with a straw, you'd get even better control. So these effects are easy to get with just a straw. You don't need any fancy equipment. Though if you have an airbrush, you know, it also works good too. So those are just a couple examples of the kinds of paintings you can make with these various different techniques. So for today, I just thought I'd go over the supplies you need to get started. So, of course, we need acrylic paint. So there's 3 different kinds, or well, there's more than 3, but there's a few different kinds of paints you can get. So you could start off with like an apple barrel. Sorry, my camera's being... Okay, so you could start off with an apple barrel. Oh, where? Okay, an apple barrel. This is a craft paint. It's acrylic paint. You could start off with this, and you know, it's a good paint to start off with. Inexpensive, good thing to try. Good, it's a good option to try when you're trying to decide if you like this kind of painting. And then the next kind of level up of the ones that I've gotten anyway. Sorry, I'm just following around my camera for more of a medium-bodied paint. It's acrylic Sargent paint. I ordered this offline on Amazon, and it came in a big kit of 12. And then there's the heavy-bodied paint. So this is Saks heavy-bodied paint. Sorry, I'm following around my focus here. So Saks heavy-bodied acrylic paint. It is pretty thick. And I'll show you the difference between these 3 paintings, 3 kind of paints, in a couple of minutes. The next thing you need to think about getting is a paint medium. So, or pour medium, however you want to call it. So when I first started, the only thing I ever used was Floetrol. Floetrol was what I always used. I got great paintings with it. It's inexpensive, but it's not really like a pour medium per se. It's you won't find it in a craft store. I found it on Amazon. I haven't been able to find it in a home improvement store in Canada yet, though maybe I just haven't shopped around enough. But Floetrol is for painting painting walls for brushes and roller marks. So that's what this is used for. But it makes a great pour medium for acrylic pour painting. You can also buy pour painting, or pour, you can also buy the medium. This is a Liquid-X professional pour medium. It's a little pricey, so I have a bottle I just kind of save for more special effects. I don't use this on a regular basis. So yeah, that's an option. That's something that you can find in Michael's quite easily. This is another one I bought offline. I have a little concoction that I make up to make up my own kind of pour medium. I wish I had tried this one on its own before making this video, because it's clear. And one thing about the Floetrol and the Liquid X and the other things that you can use as a pour medium, they're white. So when you mix it with your color, your color's getting diluted by white. But when it dries, it is darker because the actual pour medium dries clear. So it doesn't really change the color of your paint, but it does while it's wet. So this one is clear, so it would give you a good idea of what your paints are going to look like when they're dry. So I wish I had tried this one on its own, but I put it in my little concoction, which I will share with you in a minute. But anyway, this is another folk art. I've got this also online. It's just called Floating Medium. It says colorless on it. And then another option is glue. PVC glue, all-purpose glue. I haven't used glue on its own. I do use it in my concoction that I'll share with you. But the glue itself, I've heard a lot of people use it. Sorry, trying to get the right focus here. I've heard a lot of people say they used it and got good results with it. If you're going to use the glue, try. It's 65% glue to 35% water to make a pouring medium, because it's quite thick. So you need to water it down a little bit. Another pouring medium. This is the Sargent pouring medium. This was like $30 a gallon. It's up to $46 now, so I don't know what the big price change is. And I'll just, as we're on pour mediums, I'll just show you mine, which is, I mix it up in this big thing, and then I pour it into different containers. But anyway, it's 3 parts Floetrol, so I just get 3 of these, 3 1-liter bottles. 2 parts pouring medium, so I get 2 more liters of whatever pouring medium I'm going to use. I usually use Sargent. And then 1 part glue. So I just do it by liters. You don't have to, of course, make up this big thing. In fact, you could just use Floetrol until you know that you like doing this kind of painting. If you find that you like it and you're doing a lot and you want to get a mix of you know, try some different techniques or anything, then you might want to think about making a mix like this. But you could even just get the, you know, regular Sargent pour medium. That would be great. And then the next thing you need is, of course, canvas to work on. So you don't really need a canvas. You could pour paint on anything. You can use MDF as long as it's primed first. You can use any like a tile, a panel, like anything. I've even reused pictures. I just prime over the picture and just do my painting over it. I just want to show you one thing about canvas. These are the basic level canvas, so you could see they are stapled at the back, and they are pre-primed with gesso. Gesso is like a primer for canvas. And then you might hear something about gallery wrapped canvases. Now, I wouldn't suggest starting painting on a gallery wrapped canvas until you know that you really can put out some things that you want to hang or you want to sell. Gallery wrap canvas, and I have one here, a level 3. There is also a level 2, and the level 2 is just pretty similar, but it's a little bit thinner on the side here. You can see the side here is pretty thick. On the level 2, it's probably half this size. But what makes the gallery wrap canvas different than the staples is the one that I just showed you, that there are no staples in the back. The canvas is wrapped in between these two things of wood here, and it's stretched that way. And the canvas itself is much more heavy duty than the basic level ones. And these are quite expensive, so I wouldn't suggest getting these off the hop. Like this one is pretty big, but 20 by 24, it was like $74. So yeah, I don't recommend getting that off the hop. Whereas you can get a pack of 20, and this is all Canadian money at Canadian Michael's. You can get a pack of 20 canvases for $65 that are size 16 by 20. So definitely start there. Don't get a expensive canvas until you know what it is that you want to paint, and if your paintings are, you want to put it up on your wall. Next thing you need is silicone. So this is silicone. It's 100% silicone. It says treadmill lubricant on it. I'm not sure if I can get the focus properly here for you to see. But treadmill lubricant, I got it off Amazon. You just do a search for 100% silicone and you'll be able to find it. You might be able to find this at a sporting store. And I do think that some craft stores are starting to sell the silicone in a craft variety. Your other option is coconut milk serum. So coconut milk serum has dimethicone in it, which is very similar to silicone. It has to be the coconut milk serum though, not the coconut milk shampoo or the coconut milk conditioner. It has to be this clear serum, because the other ones don't have the degree of dimethicone in it as these ones do. And you can also get dimethicone straight, like pure dimethicone also from Amazon. I haven't seen it anywhere else. I think it's used for cosmetic products similar to this. So, Amazon is a pretty good place to find anything that you're looking for. You're going to need a source of heat. So, kitchen torch if you have one. This is I just filled this. It doesn't like me anymore. I put too much paint on it, so be careful with your torches. They don't like it if you use them, apparently, because this one doesn't work on me anymore. So I do have also a propane torch, which I actually prefer over that kitchen torch anyway. If you don't have a torch, you can use a heat gun if you have, and if you're really desperate, you could use a barbecue starter lighter, but that will take you a long time to get your bubbles popped and your cells up. So what the heat does is it pops all your bubbles, which does give you like tiny little cells, but it also brings the silicone up to the surface, and that's what creates the cells. So you do need the heat. It's one thing that you do need. And cups. I have a variety of cups. Now, cups aren't absolutely 100% necessary. You could mix paints in anything, any container, any like-sized containers. This is a 20-ounce cup, and you need this cup to be full in order to do a 16 by 20 canvas to cover it all. These are 8-ounce cups, and I use them if I'm doing like a 12 by 12 canvas, or I'm doing like a flip and drag, which would be this kind of effect. So flip and drag is you take your cup and you have you put white down or whatever background color you're going to use, and then you put your cup here, you let it drain a little bit, and then you flip it and you drag the color out this way, and then of course back and forth to get the big cells. And this one is so shiny because it's covered in resin. I love working with resin, and at some point hopefully I'll get some videos uploaded with resin art. So that's what the 8-ounce cups are for. These smaller ones, these are 4 ounces or 2 ounces, is what you would use for doing the negative space. Like I used a 4-ounce little cup for this. So that's what the different sizes are for. Now the 5-ounce cups, these are for putting your actual paint in. So I have my paints already pre-mixed with the pour medium that I have, my little recipe. I mix these all ahead, and if you get to liking painting and you decide that that's a hobby you want to do, or maybe you want to sell art, these are good, nice to have. Not necessary, but nice to have. So it's graduated, so you can just put in the amount of paint you need and then the amount of the pouring medium, and I'll go over that with you in a second. So now when I'm doing the painting, I will just squeeze the whatever paint into these small cups, and then that's where I'll add my silicone, into these cups. cups with the paint. Now when I first started, I got those little kind of condiment squeezy things that I thought, oh well, why do I need those little cups? I'll just add my silicone right into the condiment things with the paint. And then I didn't get any cells the first couple times I was painting, and I was wondering why isn't this working for me? And then I found out later, you know, probably 100 videos and 3 books later, that you know, you can't put silicone in ahead of time. You can't shake it up. It has to be kind of just lightly stirred into the paint before you're pouring it. So that's a mistake I made that hopefully you can avoid. And then you need stir sticks. I got these jumbo craft sticks, like on Amazon again. I love Amazon. But anyway, I got these $5 for 500 sticks. I used chopsticks for a while. These are, once you got paint on these, you can still use them. This paint will not bleed off onto it when you're stirring another paint. Once it's dried on the wood, that's it. It's stained on the wood. So you can use these a number of times. And I do use mine a number of times. Like, these are probably getting ready to go in the garbage, but you could see I've used these a number of times. And then I have skewers, and the reason I have skewers is the Floetrol is notoriously bad for having little blobbies in it. So sometimes when you pour the paint, you might not notice it when you're putting it in a cup, but maybe there's a blobby somewhere. And so if it goes on the canvas, I just take the skewer and kind of just pick it up. So that way I don't have a blob drying on my canvas. Now I just show you that just give you a little recipe or a little guideline to go by when you're gonna mix up your paint. So this apple barrel, the craft paint, you can get at a dollar store, Michael's, Walmart. I don't know the big box craft stores in the States, but that's what it is here, Michael's. So you can see that this goes on and it is pooling, you know, quite a bit when you put it on. So it's a pretty thin paint. And then this one, considered a heavy bodied paint, you can see it absolutely retains its shape. And I'll bring these up closer for you to see them in a second here. And then this medium bodied paint, you put this on and it does pool, whoops, but it doesn't spread. It still has some thickness to it. So there we go. So you can see the difference there. This is quite thin. This is a little bit thicker. It's got some more thickness to it. And then this one is really thick. So when it comes to mixing your paints, then you have a ratio that you can go by. Sorry, I gotta put something for this to focus on. There it is. Sorry, I got this ridiculous camera. It's a Nikon D5300, and if you're using it to take videos, I would suggest trying another camera. No, don't buy this one. Really expensive and hard to shoot proper videos on. Anyway, when you're going to be mixing these with pour mediums, my kind of guideline is if it's thin like this one, you're going to use 1:1. So 1 part of the paint, 1 part of the pouring medium. So say you want 4 ounces, you're going to do 2 ounces of the paint and 2 ounces of the pour medium. With this one, I would say 1 to 2. So you would put like 1 ounce of paint and then add 2 ounces of the pouring medium. And this one, I would say 1 to 3. So 1 ounce of this paint, 3 ounces of pouring medium. So that's my general guideline for that. Works well for me. So that's just what I go by. Let's see. And gloves, they're not necessary, but they are nice to have. I think I've covered everything. Oh, and I will, yeah, so just join me for part 2, and we'll do an actual painting I'll show you a couple things that I have you found at home that I find useful. And then join me for part 3 when we put the picture up. And then I will continue uploading videos, different tutorials on different techniques that you can use. So if you have a particular technique that you would like me to walk you through, you know, just leave a comment for me and I'll definitely get to that. If you have any questions or comments, just leave a comment and be kind. This is my very first YouTube video, so and this is for the, you know, for the beginner who doesn't know, you know, what supplies they need to get. Okay, and now we'll get on to the technique.